Doom vivemos vivamos Epicureans. This is the Marvel Epic Collection podcast. We're going to call this the Scattershot edition. I'm Nick Smith, and today I am not joined by Stojr from Stojr Self. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, then you may have already seen that Stojr recorded some of his own episodes for the past 4 days while I was out of town. So feel free to watch those separate videos to get Stojr's take for the 4 issues that I plan on covering in this shows. Now, if you're listening to this on our audio podcast, hopefully you're going to hear Stojr's episodes interspersed with my thoughts. I intend on splicing them together once I'm done recording this, so hopefully I've done all that right, and that is quasi-seamless. Anyway, Stojr and I plan on getting back together tonight to pre-record some more episodes for the volume of X Men that we're starting now. Hopefully there won't be another weird break going forward. Yeah, but Christmas time is coming up, and that's probably going to cause some interruptions as well. But we still plan on doing this, and even if there is a pause, we'll come back eventually. Anyway, we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this episode of mine, and the one that Stojr had already started, is going to be the start of a whole new volume. This is X Men Epic Collection Volume 7, The Fate of the Phoenix. I just realized I've got the mirror going on, so it's backwards in the video here, but that's okay. Anyway, this volume contains X-Men number 129 to 140, Uncanny X Men number 142 to 143. Now, I'll pause here to say the word uncanny has appeared in the title since issue 114, but it hasn't officially been a part of the title of the book until issue 142. So, again, technically, we have X-Men 129 to 141, Uncanny X-Men 142 to 143. Then also Phoenix, The Untold Story number 1, and material from Marvel Treasury Edition number 26 through 27, and Marvel Team Up number 100. Boy, does this volume have some important stuff in it. We will get the introduction of some new mutants. This is going to be Kitty Pryde and Dazzler, one of whom will join the team. We get the saga of the Hellfire Club, the Dark Phoenix saga, and the Days of Future Past storyline. And this is really a classic volume. All right, so with that, let's get into some of the individual issues here. This is Uncanny X Men number 129, God Spare the Child. Chris Claremont and John Byrne continue to share the credits with Terry Austin on inking. The X-Men leave Muir Island and Banshee behind to return to the mansion and find that Xavier has returned as well. But as they settle in, Cerebro has identified 2 new mutants, and Xavier takes Storm, Colossus, and Wolverine to visit a young girl in Chicago named Kitty Pryde. But the X-Men aren't the only ones in Chicago. Emma Frost, the White Queen of the Hellfire Club, has also met with the Pryde family, and then waylaid the X-Men in a soda shop, kidnapping Xavier's charges, while Kitty herself snuck aboard the Hellfire Club's escaping hover ship. Now, I've made it known before that I do like these little in-between downtime issues, the dynamics of Xavier trying to treat the X-Men like children, and then, of course, Wolverine and Scott's reaction to that I thought was very well done, and it also makes a lot of sense, including the bringing back of the demerit system that Xavier had early on in the X-Men, X-Men's book back in the 60s and so forth. Just a fun little callback there that also kind of shares or shows the dynamic that Xavier thinks should be happening here, but of course this is a whole new team. Although I'll admit I was a little surprised that not more was made about Xavier being back. There's no discussion of where he's been or what had happened with Lilandra. We get nothing, so hopefully later on in the book we get a little bit more on that. I did find that there was a lot of fun little background gags in this issue. For example, let's see if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to try to get the comic viewer up, and we know that is always potential for disaster. Okay, but here we go. On page 14, this is panel 6. In fact, I'm going to do something I've never done on the comic viewer. I'm going to zoom in here. Whoop. All right, you can see down there in Kitty's room, she's got some little magazines down on the bottom, which include the Fantastic Four and the Incredible Hulk. So, you know, fun little gag there that Kitty Pryde likes to read Marvel comics. Also, we finally get an explanation in this issue as to why Warhawk invaded the X-Men's mansion back in issue 110. Alright, the Hellfire Club hired him to bug Cerebro. So it was nice to see that what seemed like a filler issue at the time has had some meaning behind it after all. And I'm sure that was kind of something convenient for Claremont and Byrne too, to just kind of use that storyline and be like, okay, fitting it together here. All right, I've got a couple of no prize awards I'm going to issue for, this issue. First one, the Contributing to the Delinquency of a Minor award goes to Wolverine for Byrne stealing both a Hustler and a Penthouse magazine off the rack and letting Colossus to take a peek over his shoulder. Now, granted, I say Colossus is a minor at this point. He's probably not. I don't know exactly what his age is supposed to be at this time. But nonetheless, the kind of look of shock in Colossus's eyes as he's clearly peering at that Hustler that Wolverine's just enjoying. That's comedy right there. Also related, no prize number 2, the Irony of Ironies Award is given to John Byrne himself for depicting our heroes, Wolverine and Colossus, Byrne stealing nudie mags. And yes, I'm aware that this issue came out long before Byrne's views on reading comics off the shelf became widely known, hence the phrase Byrne stealing. He believes that if you read something in a store and don't buy it, that is technically stealing. Perhaps Byrne is channeling himself in the angry store manager in this one. I don't know, but I just thought that was funny that this is something that his name has become attached to in later years, and here it is being depicted in this comic. All right, anyway, that is issue number 130. Let's go ahead and just jump right into 131. Actually, I should pause a minute for Stojr. Okay, probably a weird, awkward pause in the video one, but hopefully in the audio this works out just fine. Okay, this is Uncanny X Men number 130, Dazzler. All right, Cyclops, Phoenix, and Nightcrawler investigate the mutant in New York who happens to be the sound and light manipulating mutant named Dazzler. I guess she only manipulates light, but the sound helps her manipulate light, something like that. Okay, so while Cyclops and Phoenix are in the club, Nightcrawler gets a telephone call from Kitty Pryde, who conveys the message that the X-Men in Chicago have been captured. But before Nightcrawler can do anything, he's attacked by goons from the Hellfire Club. A brawl ensues, which of course enters into the club, and with Dazzler's help, the X-Men fight off the goons and escape so they can try to rescue their teammates. Now, I liked how the bugging of Cerebro is now playing into the Hellfire Club's goons having strategies and knowing the abilities of what the X-Men can do. They can counter the X-Men because they know their abilities because they hacked into Cerebro. It's only the newcomer Dazzler and Kitty that can stop them. And I thought that's a neat little thing, a neat little trick done there. We also get another hint as to who Jason Wingard really is in this issue. It's the same hint that we had before of his shadow looking different than his outward appearance. Now, the text in this issue really draws your attention to this hint this time, but this is still a mystery that I don't think I picked up on the first time I read these books. So it's very obvious to me now because I know the reveal, but it's really quite well done, I think, if you know what's going on. Okay, I've got another no prize award for this issue. We're going to give this the Disco Inferno Award to the cover of X-Men number 130, not just because of Dazzler's outfit, that's quite obvious, but because of all of the lights forming the shape of the title. Really went all out on making this kind of a disco-esque. All right, those are my thoughts on 130. I'm going to pause again for Stojr, so here he is on the audio podcast. And we're going to be back here with Uncanny X Men number 131. This one is Run for Your Life. All right, Cyclops, Phoenix, Nightcrawler, and Dazzler arrive in Chicago, where they rescue Kitty Pryde and infiltrate Emma Frost's compound to rescue the remaining X-Men. After defeating Frost, they return Kitty to her family, but in the background, Jean's personality seems to be slowly changing. All right. A very quick rundown for this issue, but there are several things I thought were done really well here. Firstly, the changing of Jean's personality has been handled very well, and it has been coming along slowly. It doesn't feel sudden, and so her descent into being kind of evil and Wingard's manipulation of her, this feels earned. Also, I think Claremont does a good job of giving the Hellfire Club's henchmen a voice. They talk to one another like real people. They aren't just simple punching bags. They're actually naming one another as they're fighting. And so, again, I thought that was something really well done. Gets into the whole idea of Marvel that these are characters that live in the real world. And sure, if you're going to have henchmen fighting for an evil group, they're not going to view themselves as evil, right? They're going to be just normal human beings. Lastly, I'm going to pull up the comic viewer here again to illustrate this idea, if I can find it correctly. Yes, that's it. Okay, let me pull up the comic viewer. This is on page 155. The panels 3 and 4 on 155, or not 155, sorry, just page 55, panels 3 and 4, we have the X-Men's positions mirrored at two different times in two different costumes. It is a subtle thing, but it's a pleasing way to show the passage of time. So again, shout outs to John Byrne, just overall excellent artist, particularly in this run of the X-Men, and it's just little things like that again are kind of pleasing to the eye and convey an idea well, like in this case, the passage of time. All right, those are my thoughts for X-Men 131. I'm going to again pause here for Stojr. And we will continue on with, wait a minute. There we go. Maybe. There we go. All right, Uncanny X Men number 132, and Hellfire is their name. All right, so the X-Men regroup in New Mexico at the mansion of Warren Worthington III, a.k.a. the Angel. Cyclops decides to lead an infiltration of the public Hellfire Club to see if there's any connection to the Hellfire Club that the White Queen is a part of. When they arrive, Jason Wingard completes his psychic seduction of Jean to turn her into the Black Queen and lead the attack on the X-Men, along with the revelation, finally, that Wingard is in reality one of the X-Men's oldest foes, and that is Mastermind. Now, the leadership of the Hellfire Club is made up of a few different mutants and a cyborg who use their powers to dispatch the X-Men, although Wolverine has survived, and he is going to have to take on the Hellfire Club alone. Again, another great issue with the Jason Wingard subplot finally coming to a head here. We get that revelation, which, again, if you were paying close attention to, you already got hints to, but here we go. We get the final reveal. The visual aesthetic of the Hellfire Club, I think, is great and unique. They're classy, but they're creepy at the same time. And of course, what their motivation is, that's just sort of classic power, right? Do whatever they can to enrich themselves and gain more power and influence and so forth. That's fine. Let's see, I do have a no prize award for this one too. This is going to be the Mind the Gap Award, which I'm giving to Jean Grey for her revealing outfits in the last two issues. I'm sure this is meant to be another indication of her descent into, well, not quite being the Jean Grey that we've known all these years, that something is happening to her, right? But nonetheless, I thought, okay, this is the 70s, but boy, is she putting it out there. All right, that is going to be the end of my thoughts. I'm going to pause again for Stojr for this issue. And that should be the thoughts for both of us on these past four issues. That would have been Thanksgiving Thursday through the Sunday of November, so the last final days of November 2025. Hopefully later again tonight, December 1st, 2025, you will be able to get our thoughts on X-Men number 133. Again, Stojr and I plan on recording those tonight, and then hopefully we'll get back to these daily one-shots every day. But then also don't forget, December 14th, we are going to live stream at 8 a.m. Eastern Time our thoughts on Avengers West Coast Volume 1. So that's going to be coming up soon, 2 weeks from when I'm recording and releasing this. All right, so again, if you have enjoyed our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full Epic Collection trade paperback every month. We're going to continue with these one-shots every day. Links to our socials will be in the description here. Thank you very much, and, well, we'll have another episode soon.